Okay, so this is example 3 for section 1.3, and it wants us to classify real numbers. Now, there's different types of numbers, and mathematicians have given certain types of numbers different names. Now, let's examine what those names are. The first one is called whole numbers. So this includes any numbers that start from 0 and that are whole numbers like 1, 2, and 3. Okay, then the next one is called integers. That is everything whole numbers is 0, 1, 2, 3, but it also includes all the negative numbers like -1, -2, 0, 1, 2. So it's all the positive numbers and negative numbers. Now the next one, the rational numbers, includes all of the integers, but it includes any number that can be written as a fraction. So like 1/2 is probably one of the most popular ones. But you can also do whole numbers because 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. So it includes 2. It includes negative numbers like -3/4. It includes decimals like -0.15. Okay, so anything that can be written as a fraction. Irrational numbers is a different thing altogether. It's not rational numbers, it's not integers, and it's not whole numbers. Irrational numbers are numbers that are decimals that don't repeat and that don't end. So these are non-repeating. Whoops, I spelled repeating wrong. Non-repeating, keywords, non-repeating, non-terminating. That's a cool word, terminate. That means that the decimal never ends. Some famous ones are pi, because pi is 3.145, and it keeps going on forever, and doesn't stop, and it doesn't repeat. Another famous one is E, I believe. And then also some other ones that fit into this category are non-perfect squares, like the square root of 2. There's no number times itself that can equal 2. Or the square root of 5. So pi, e, square root 2, square root 5, those are irrational numbers. Okay, so they want us to look at some numbers that they give us and say which ones these are. So let's take a look. So they did the first one for us, square root of 9. Square root of 9, that's the same thing as saying square root of 3 times 3, which equals 3. So 3, it's a whole number, it's an integer, and it's a rational number, but it's not an irrational number. What about 3/10? It's a fraction. So we know it's a rational number, but you can't write 3/10 as a whole number, as like 1, 2, or whatever. So it's not an integer, and it's not a whole number. How about -0.45? We can write 0.45 as a fraction, so it's a rational number, but it's not an integer, and it's not a whole number. Oh, and it's not irrational numbers. What about square root of 12? Can you think of a number that you can take times itself to equal 12? Let's see, 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. So there's no whole number that can be the square root of 12. So it's not a whole number, it's not an integer, it's not a rational number, it's an irrational number. So that's the only irrational number on the block there, square root of 12. Okay, so that's this example. Let's go on to example 4.